Thank you for joining us, Ms. Baskin. We're with Ms. Carole Baskin. She is the CEO of Big Cat Rescue, which is based near Tampa, Florida. And we wanted to talk to Ms. Baskin today because there's been a possible sighting of a cougar or puma, same cat, right, Ms. Baskin? I mean, you'll correct me here.
Yes, they have a lot of names.
Yeah, in the Crestwood neighborhood here in Birmingham. So, Ms. Baskin, thank you again for joining us today. We wanted to talk to you about this potential puma sighting. So, could you tell us a little bit about this cat that has many names, right?
Yeah, they're often called mountain lions out west. Here in Florida, we call them Florida panthers. Most places call them cougars. Central and South America, they call them pumas. But they can range anywhere from about a 60 to 70 pound cat here in the South to a 300-pound cat up in the Rocky Mountains, usually more like 250 pounds. But they're a big cat, a really big cat. And most of the people who report sightings of cougars here in Florida have actually seen bobcats, which have short tails or half tails, whereas cougars have really long tails. But when somebody sees a cat that size, whether it be 15 pounds or 150 pounds, they're usually pretty excited and don't pay attention to how long the tail is.
Sure. So one thing that we are reporting here at CBS is that pumas aren't typically black. Is that right? Am I correct on that?
Correct. They don't come in black. Sometimes when they are seen at dusk, they look darker than they really are, but they're not truly melanistic like a black leopard or a black jaguar would be.
Mm-hmm. So can you talk a bit about cougars or pumas that are in captivity? So maybe somebody's keeping, is it common to keep them as pets, even if it's an illegal situation?
They used to be the poster child for big cat pets. And then people really got into keeping tigers as pets. And Alabama is one of the 4 states in this country that has no laws on their books about whether or not people can keep these animals as pets. So Alabama says that if the animal can contract rabies, then you have to be able to vaccinate that animal with a species appropriate vaccine. There is no species appropriate vaccine for any of the big cats. So it would essentially make it illegal, but Alabama just kind of turns their back on it and says that's not their problem because they don't regulate them.
Do we have any idea about the frequency of these types of cats being kept as pets in Alabama or in other states?
Sadly, nobody even knows. And that's why we have the Big Cat Public Safety Act before Congress right now that would ban cub petting and phase out the private ownership of big cats. Currently, the only organization or government agency that counts big cats at all is USDA. But USDA is only for people who are using the animals for exhibition or breeding. So if people have animals in their backyards, there's nobody counting them. And in 2004, there were over 5,000 tigers, just tigers, that were being kept in America in USDA facilities. That didn't count all of the people that had them as pets. And nobody's ever done a count on cougars or depending on if this is a truly black cat, it might be a black leopard, and nobody's done a count on those either.
So, like you said, when it's close to dark, it's possible that this person wasn't even seeing a black cat. But can you tell me about the possibility that this was a puma, or like you said before, is it potentially something like a bobcat or another smaller cat that they mistook for a puma or a cougar?
It really could be either. It could be an escaped cat because if it is a black leopard, the leopard is the smartest of all of the cats. They are the best escape artists. And once they're out, they are really hard to catch. And so it could be somebody's escaped black leopard, could be a cougar. I don't think it would be a native cougar given that it's Alabama. They've pretty much been extirpated from that area, but you never know. And of course, another likelihood would be a bobcat, but bobcats are brown with spots too. So that's not a truly black cat either.
So you mentioned that they're extirpated from Alabama. Can you tell us a little bit about what that means?
The cougars have been hunted to extinction in most of the US, as well as the jaguar, which used to come in gold spots and black coats. The jaguar has been completely hunted until they're extinct in the US, with one living exception, I think, in somewhere in the Southwest, close to the border. And then the ocelot used to run Florida, Louisiana, Alabama, down into Georgia, but that cat also has been hunted to extinction.
So you mentioned the law that is before Congress. Can you tell me a little bit about what is going on in the big cat community, if you would call it that? What type of advocacy are you working on now?
The Big Cat Public Safety Act is closing a loophole in a bill that we were able to pass with a number of other people that helped us in 2003. In 2003, we had been working since like 1998 on the Captive Wildlife Safety Act, which made it illegal to sell a big cat across state lines as a pet. But anytime you get a bill passed through Congress, you have to negotiate compromises with your opponents. And the compromise that they worked into that bill was to allow the private ownership of big cats and to allow the cub petting. And the cub petting is what drives all of the abuse. They can only use them from about 8 weeks to 12 weeks, and then they can take a finger off of a child. And so then they become a liability. The people who pimp out the cubs will often then give them away to people as pets. And this is lions, tigers, leopards, cougars, jaguars, all of those cats are used for that purpose. And then they're dumped as soon as they're about 12 to 16 weeks old. So it's just a huge, huge problem. And this bill will end the cub petting and phase out the private ownership.
So you don't think there are any big cats that should be kept as pets? Is that what I'm hearing from you?
People who live around big cats don't keep them as pets. It's only here where we have so Disney-fied the idea and have these romantic notions of people having this wonderful bond with the cats, because we see it on social media. What people don't understand is when they see those images on social media, it's people that are showing off with kittens. They might be a 500-pound tiger or a 350-pound lion that they're playing with, but they're under 5 years old. So emotionally, they're still cubs. As soon as they get to be adults, they will kill you, just like they would kill their own parents in the wild to take over their habitat.
Well, thank you for answering our questions about this. Before I let you go, I do want to ask you, you've said you will not be in the second season of Tiger King. Can you tell me why?
I told them to lose my number. I think what they did was an absolute betrayal.
You don't agree with your portrayal in the first season is what you're referring to, right?
Not at all. If you go to bigcatrescue.org/Netflix, you'll see why.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ms. Baskin, for joining us and for answering our questions about